Hello, everyone. Welcome back to H&P Podcast, a podcast that helps you breathe easier in life. It's great to see you all again in a brand new episode.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.
Are you mad at me? No, I'm fine. But you look so upset. This is just my normal face. What are you talking about? If you want something, you have to say it. How am I supposed to read your mind? I already told you this is just my normal face. Have you ever found yourself in this situation? You have no idea what your woman is thinking. You feel completely stuck and frustrated, and you just want to drag her into an examination room to see what's going on inside her head. There's a song by Taylor Swift that I think really captures this moment. When two people are upset with each other, they've just had an argument, and the woman refuses to say why she's mad. That song is "You're Losing Me," and the lyrics go like this. Every morning, I look at you with angry eyes. How can you dare say you love someone when you don't even realize I'm dying inside? I've tried sending you signals and endured the pain. My face is turning blue, but you still refuse to admit that we're not okay. I've noticed something very typical about a lot of men. Whenever their girlfriend or wife is upset, they always ask the same thing. So why exactly are you mad? Why are you upset? What do you want? Just tell me. Since ancient times, there's no denying that men have always held the upper hand in relationships. If you didn't like something, you had the power to make it clear. I don't like this. I want that. You were in a position to demand, to ask, and to be accommodated. However, times have changed. Women are no longer in a weaker position, and now they feel they don't have to submit to men anymore. That's why every time a fight happens or an issue arises that men don't understand, women start wondering, why can't men choose a more subtle way to approach this? Meanwhile, men don't even consider that there could be any other way besides asking directly. So if your woman is reluctant to say what she wants or refuses to express her needs, let me help you decode them. The first thing, women won't tell you this, but I will. We always love to feel attractive, desired, and special. We don't like being treated as something that's just there for men. So when you ask, what do you actually want? Just say it. We won't obediently reply, I want to feel attractive in your eyes, to feel special, to feel loved. I may be a forgetful person, but I never forget any guy who has ever looked me in the eyes and said, you're beautiful. Even if they didn't say it out loud, just the way they looked at me like I was beautiful stayed with me. I can still remember their gaze, their gestures, the atmosphere in that moment. Because those were the moments when I truly felt attractive and adored. The second thing, women love being cuddled and caressed, okay? Not thinking about anything dirty, right? The reason women love physical affection is that our bodies have around 10,000 sensory receptors. This is an evolutionary trait that helps us care for our children, holding them, comforting them, and sensing when they're unwell. Meanwhile, men only have about 3,000 sensory receptors. That's why women enjoy being cuddled and caressed so much. And we're also naturally wired to love comforting and affectionately touching others. But here's the problem. When women cuddle and caress their men, guys often misinterpret it as a signal that we want sex. Nope. Sometimes when we touch you, we simply want to comfort you, to be affectionate. That's it. So please don't misread the signals, because when you do, things can take a really cringeworthy turn. Trust me, for us, it can get so awkward. So I'm begging you, don't misread the signals. The third thing, she doesn't like being in the moment while a bunch of little things, no matter how small, are distracting her. Like the bedroom door being slightly open, the curtains not fully closed, the sound of the wind, tree branches tapping against the window, a dog barking outside, and especially when she's not relaxed. Why is that? First, a woman's brain is wired for multitasking, meaning we're naturally good at handling multiple things at once. Meanwhile, men's brains are single-task focused. You concentrate on one thing and work to complete it. But because women can juggle multiple tasks at the same time, our brains are also more prone to vigilance reflexes, meaning even the smallest distractions can grab our attention and disrupt the mood. Professor Kate Hutchison, a neuroscientist at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam in the Netherlands, led a research team that studied the brains of 13 women in 4 different states: relaxed, aroused, faking orgasm, and aroused nearing orgasm. The results? The researchers found that when women were aroused, activity in the primary somatosensory cortex, the part of the brain that processes basic bodily sensations, increased. But activity in the amygdala and hippocampus, the regions that control anxiety and alertness, decreased. This proves that women can only fully experience pleasure when they're completely relaxed and not distracted. The fourth thing, actually, this isn't something women won't tell you, but they might say it in a different way. Or sometimes they don't even know what they truly want themselves. You've probably heard women say things like, "You don't pay attention to my feelings at all," or "You don't even want to talk to me." I believe men do like to talk, but the topics they usually discuss with women, like cars, technology, machines, money, finance, economics, aren't always the only things that matter. If those are the only things you talk about all day, well, women want to feel loved and be with a man who knows how to actively listen, who listens to their emotions. For example, there's this awful girl at my company. Well, you must have done something for her to act like that, right? Let me tell you about this. There's this awful girl at my company. See what just happened? Sometimes it's just about venting. When she's frustrated or upset, she just wants to express it. Women appreciate men who genuinely listen to their emotions, whether it's anger or excitement, without interrupting or trying to give advice. The final thing, marry me, okay? Or she might try to send you signals that she wants you to marry her. Or she might say something like, "We need to get married." Deep in our genetic code, there is always a desire for a strong, lasting commitment. And the strongest commitment of all, marriage. Being officially recognized by family, loved ones, and the law. But why is that? When a man vows to stay with a woman for life, it means he is capable of and will provide for her. A woman needs at least 9 months to carry a child. And during pregnancy and childbirth, she is almost entirely unable to gather food or provide for the child. And after birth, it takes at least 5 years to raise the child until they can walk steadily and speak properly. Women need commitment from men. I came across an interesting insight from David Buss. Men carry a genetic drive for conquest, fighting, raiding other tribes, and spreading their genes to have as many offspring as possible. However, evolution took a different path. Women prefer men who are not overly aggressive, but instead gentle, caring, and responsible. Now, about marriage. Many people today argue that it's unnecessary. They say, "We don't need to get married, we can just live together." Marriage isn't important because people can still get divorced. So, should we get married? Especially from a biological perspective? That's what women need. However, in many countries today, like Germany, marriage rates are declining. But what many people don't realize is that in Germany, there are binding laws. Even if you live together without marriage, you are still legally bound by certain regulations. I came across a fascinating passage in the book, The Honest Truth About Dishonesty. A reader asked the author, "Dear Dan, my boyfriend and I have been living together for a while, and people often ask if we plan to get married. We get along very well and love each other deeply, but I don't see the need to take that step." The author replied, "I don't have any research on this topic, but let me share a story that might help you reflect on your question. When I was about 19, I was transferred from the burn unit, where I had been hospitalized in isolation, to a multidisciplinary rehabilitation center. Among the patients, there was a man named David. He had served in the military as an explosives expert and was severely injured while defusing a mine. He lost one hand, one eye, suffered some leg injuries, and had a few scars. When Rachel, his girlfriend of only a few months, broke up with him, all the patients in the rehabilitation center, including me, were outraged at her. How could she be so disloyal and shallow? Did their love mean nothing? How could she? The interesting thing was that David understood her reasoning. Unlike us, he didn't react negatively to her decision. He was, in fact, the only one who defended her. Looking back now, I'm not sure if Rachel was right or wrong, but her actions can help us reflect on your question. Think about what she did. Does it make you angry? Would your opinion of her change if she and David had been together longer? What if they had been engaged? What if they had been legally married? What if they had already had a wedding? How would you behave if you were in Rachel's position at each of these levels of commitment? And how would you expect your partner to behave if he were in Rachel's place under those same conditions? I suspect that your level of disapproval toward Rachel largely depends on how deep her relationship with David was. Likewise, I suspect that your predictions about whether you would stay with someone who had just become severely disabled, and what your partner would do if you were the one injured, also depend on the depth of the relationship. So, what's the lesson here? If your judgment shifts when you imagine that David and Rachel were married, then that fact actually means something to you. It suggests that marriage might change the way you perceive a relationship. Obviously, marriage isn't some magical superglue that holds relationships together forever, but it can be a crucial catalyst for commitment and long-term relationships, especially when we inevitably face difficult times. So, while I don't advocate marriage in every situation, I do think this tradition's role in strengthening long-term human connections is truly worth considering. After reading this, I found myself reflecting a lot as well. I hope today's podcast can help you guys decode the women in your lives, at least a little bit. I'll wrap up today's episode here. If you found this content helpful, please consider sharing it with your friends and family. Also, as always, since YouTube's algorithm prioritizes videos with more likes, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to help more people discover our podcast. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a peaceful evening.